Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Irene and today I'll show you how I made Christmas ornaments from natural fibers, old nylon ties and some foil. Of course, I'm beginning with making a base. To make it easier for you to repeat the projects, I've prepared some templates. I'm cutting them out of cardboard. You'll want your cardboard thin and flexible enough. I'll link all the templates for today's ornaments in the description box below the video. For making bases, you'll need some foil. The easiest ornament to make is a mouse. I'm shaping the base as a droplet. I'm tearing off a piece of foil and sculpt it in the shape of the template. Then I'm hot gluing the foil to the cardboard and shaping it. I'm adding more foil if necessary until I get sufficient volume. Then I turn the workpiece over and repeat everything from the other side. As you can see, I'm not gluing the ears yet. Other ornaments have a slightly more complicated shape. The fox's body and head are one piece. I'm shaping the head, the body, and then I'm making the base a little bit thinner in the place where the neck will be. Here I'm also shaping the ornament in several steps, gluing more foil and shaping it until I get a hemispherical head and a plump butt. Then I turn the workpiece over and repeat all the same from the other side. At this stage, the workpiece is looking like a duck. I make the hind legs voluminous on one side only and hot glue them onto the base. I also make the front leg on one side only and I'm hot gluing them to the body facing cardboard side down. And finally the tail. Since it will be curved, it's inconvenient to shape it over the cardboard, so I'm just sculpting a tail from foil about the same size as a cardboard template and bending it as I like. I'm not gluing the tail to the body yet, as well as the ears. The bunny is very similar to the fox, with a couple of exceptions. Here I'm shaping the front legs without a cardboard base, as I did with the fox's tail, just a couple of curved sausages. The bunny's tail is just a foil ball. Template is also not needed here. I'm also going to make two bears. The first one is standing. It has separate templates for the head and the body. I'm making them over templates as I've shown before, and I'm hot gluing them together. I'm also adding some rounded piece over the head, the muzzle, and one more flatter mount to the body. This will be the tummy. I'm adding two rounded pieces to the hind legs, the feet. And finally, lower the back, I'm adding a plump butt and a tail over it. The second bear will lie on its back with its legs up. This ornament has a head and a body again as a single whole, like the bunny and the fox did. The legs here I make in two steps. First, I'm making legs that are flat on one side, just like before. I'm hot gluing them to the right place of the body with cardboard side facing inwards, and then I'm adding volume to the protruding sections of the legs. And finally, the bull. It's made in exactly the same way as the previous ornaments. There are no special features here except that the head is to be attached to one side, although you can make a bull looking forward. By the way, using the same template you can make a lion deer. Their complexion is similar except that the face should be a little sharper. Now the bases for the ornaments are quite ready, but in order for the fur to stick better to them, I'm covering them with fabric. I like using all tights here. Tights stretch well and therefore cover even rather complex shapes. Flesh color is great as a base, and besides it's a great way to recycle what would otherwise go to trash. I wrap the bases without any kind of system. I'm just pulling on the corner and wrapping the base and hot gluing when needed. And then I'm cutting off all the excess fabric. Here I am already attaching the ears of all animals. And the last thing to do before covering the animals with fur is to make loops for hanging and thin long tails. For this purpose I'm taking a natural rope. The tails went to the mouse and the bull, and I did the loops by tying the toys around the neck with a rope or around the waist. At this point I wondered if the mouse has a waist. I'm checking how it hangs to be sure all is nice and even, and then I'm fixing the rope in the desired position. And a little bit more of preparations. I bought ready-made eyes, but I decided to make the noses myself out of polymer clay. For the mouse I'm taking a small black ball. You can even replace it with a mud bead. The fox and bears will acquire more detailed noses. I'm sculpting a triangular nose and squeeze out the nostrils with a needle. For the bull I made two separate nostrils. These are just balls into which I'm pressing a thick needle from one side so that I get small letter C. The bunny has a triangular nose as well, but it's pink. And finally the bull's horns. I decided not to make them black, but paint the ready-made ones, so I sculpted from what was on hand, and it was pink polymer clay. I'm making two curved horns, trying them onto the head of the bull, and then I'm sending everything to oven for baking according to the instructions. Now it's time to start gluing the fur. Today I'll show you three options what you can use for fur. So the first option is flax or linen fibers. I found mine in a hardware store. It's used for sealing pipe joints. Not sure if it's used anywhere outside my country, but I'll link available options online in the description. But back to the actual gluing technique, I'll start with the mouse as the easiest one. Linen is the easiest and fastest to glue of all fibers that I'll show today because it's thin like fur and you can stick it in a large bunch at once. Glue the fibers in the opposite direction to the fur growth. This is since the fur of the animal go from top to bottom from the head, then you need to start with the tail and move towards the nose. So I'm cutting off a bundle of fibers about a centimeter in length, spread hot glue on a small area over the base next to the tail and put the bundle into the glue. You can immediately move the bundle up a little. The fiber cuts will turn out to be shifted and accordingly the fur will look more natural, although even if you glue it as is, you can later refine it with a haircut. The mouse base has the shape of a droplet and I'm moving from the tail in a spiral to the tip of the nose when gluing the bundles of fibers. Before covering the muzzle, you need to attach the eyes. It's better to do this before covering with fur, then the eyes will sink a little and look more natural. I bought eyes for toys, in this case 4 mm in size, and you can also use some black beads or sculpt it from polymer clay as well. After the whole base is covered, it's time for a haircut. I'm cutting against the fur growth again. This is directing the tips of the scissors towards the nose and trying to keep the scissors parallel to the surface of the ornament. Thus you'll get a neat, evenly trimmed fur. It remains to attach the ears. I'm covering the back of the ears with fur, moving as usual from bottom up, and then I'm also covering the ear's edge. I'm taking a small bunch, stretching it out right in my fingers to make it long and thin, applying glue to the edge of the ear and covering with this long bunch. I'm making this in 2 steps, over the right and over the left of the ear. Then I'm cutting the fur so that the ears were not too hairy, and we're done. Initially I wanted to make a mouse without any pores at all, only a body with ears, but then I decided to make pores for it. I'm cutting off 4 pieces from a bamboo stick and covering them with flax fibers. To glue them into the ornament, I'm poking a hole in the base with scissors with sharp ends and then glue my hairy sticks into the holes. It remains to glue the polymer clay nose, and of course the inner part of the ears. It will remain naked, but the color of the tights doesn't work for me, so I ran tinting the ears with pink acrylic, first in a lighter tone and then more saturated near the base. I wanted this mouse to be very simple and minimalistic, even a little bit primitive, but in the end it turned out to be very realistic. I even frightened my mom with it. Probably it was more logical to make it last year, because it was a year of the mouse, but let the symbols of both the outgoing and upcoming year coexist over the tree. To complement the mouse, you can give it a piece of polymer clay cheese. For the fox and the bears, I used Sisal fibers. I bought a very nice set of 3 colors in a package. The third part of such a set, which is about 10 grams, is just enough for a small ornament. The fox was probably the most complicated ornament, if we say about colors, so I'll show it in detail. Here I used 3 colors: cream, red and black. If you wish, you can do without black and just tint it with black acrylic later. I'm beginning with white and traditionally from tail. I'm covering the tip of the tail, tummy, chest and lower part of the muzzle till the very nose. When doing the nose, don't forget to add fluffy bugs. And of course the inside of the ears. I trimmed all the sisal just after applying so that the fox didn't get too shaggy. You can also do this at the very end when the entire ornament is covered with fur. The following color is black. The foxes have black legs and ear tips. I glue the paws to about an elbow and cut the fibers again. Finally, red color. Again, I'm starting with the tail and move along the paws from tips upwards, from where the black color was ending. Before furling the muzzle, I'm attaching the eyes, this time 6 mm. I'm covering the head from the back to the nose and again making the haircut. If you're new, I want to say a big welcome and would love you to join my community by tapping on the subscribe button as well as the bell to keep up to date with everything I have to share. I'm hot gluing the fox's nose. And the last thing that remains is to darken the fur around the eyes and nose a little. I'm doing it with a semi-dry acrylic brush. The fox, according to my idea, looks up and it's supposed to hang it so that it looked at something. Here you can already let your imagination run wild. Hang a bunch of grapes, mold a bun, a crow with cheese, depending on which fairy tale you want to embody, but I have here a bunny to complement the fox. I begin making a bunny from the eyes. Since bunnies are usually big-eyed, here I use larger eyes, 8 mm. I hot glue them on the sides of the muzzle. For a bunny, I decided to combine two types of material. I'm beginning with cream Sisal fibers. I'm applying them over the underside of the tail, belly and chest, as well as the tips of the paws and of course the ears. Some haircut. And then I'm taking the flax hem that I used for the mouse. It's grey and suits bunny fur really nice. I'm gluing the fur just as I have shown before, moving from tail and paws to the tip of the Don't forget about the haircut. In the end, I'm making two lush bunches of white sisal and hot glue them onto the tip of the muzzle, making white cheeks. And of course, the nose. The bunny came out so cute. I dressed it up a little by tying a bow around its neck, but running a little ahead, it's great to decorate it with some accessory. For example, put on a vest, give a drum or at least a carrot. For the bears, I used cream and dark brown sisal. By the way, this one was sold as a gifts filler, so you may want to look for it at some florist department. I'm applying white over the legs and the ears. And then I'm covering everything else in brown, moving as usual from bottom up. As with past ornaments, I'm attaching the eyes before furring the muzzle. Here it's 6 mm like I used for the fox. The first bear reminds me a lot of cat here. And again working as barber shop. I'm doing all the same with the second bear. I'm covering it from the heels to the top of the head. This one, when gluing eyes, is looking just like a monkey. Here cut again. And finally the muzzles. I'm making them white, gluing Sisal in a circle, moving gradually to the tip of the nose. Finally gluing the noses. Now the bears do not look like a cat or a monkey anymore. With the bears, I decided to experiment a bit and make them more cartoonish, so I'm dressing up the bears. I'm cutting out white scarves from an old sweater and also making them red velvet vests. I didn't make any template here, I'm just cutting it straight out for the bears. I have elastic velvet and it's very convenient that it doesn't crumble at all, and thanks to its elasticity, it sits perfectly over the bear's figures. I'm hemming the edges and hot gluing them over the shoulders. Here everything will be hidden under the scarves, so it's okay if you're a bit inaccurate. I'm tying scarves and drawing the faces with black acrylic outline. I decided I also want to give the bears something in their hands. I'm giving the standing bear a watch pendant, and to the lying one I'm attaching a big pine cone. I like these teddy bears probably more than all the other ornaments. The accessories have decorated them so nicely and the ornaments look much more interesting, although less natural. You can experiment and come up with other outfits, more detailed. For example, I would have added tiny buttons for vests or dressed them in pants too. I think this is such a cute option for any Christmas tree or a small gift to your loved one. And of course, since the upcoming year is the year of the bull as per Chinese calendar, I couldn't help but make the symbol of the year. For the bull, I took coconut fiber and sisal. This fiber is sold as a substrate for flowers. I have already used coconut flower baskets for making Easter bunnies, so feel free to take what is easier for you. You can either fluff up the coconut basket or buy coconut fiber. My bull is going to be two-toned, so I'm making a rounded brown spot on the bottom and then switch to yellow sisal. I'm covering the hind legs with sisal. Here I do not start from the very tip because the bull's going to have hooves. Then I'm switching to coconut again and covering the back till the head. I'm making front legs yellow up to the shoulders, and at the chest I'm switching to brown again. I'm inserting eyes. Here size is 6 mm, and I'm hot gluing the nostrils and horns. And now I'm covering the head. The back of the head is all brown, and on the forehead I'm making a yellow spot and covering all the muzzles moving towards the nose. I'm covering the ears with yellow sisal inside and coconut outside. And finally the tail. I'm applying hot glue over the rope and then coconut fibers so that the tail was round and not very hairy. I'm rolling the rope between my fingers until the glue has set. At the end of the tail, I'm making a yellow tassel. It remains to tint the horns and hooves. I'm painting the hooves with brown acrylic. By the way, as an option you can cover them with leather or suede before you start gluing fibers. I'm painting the horns in two colors. It's also easier to do it before gluing, but you can also paint it in the very end, just like I did. At the final touch, I'm hanging a bright ribbon with bells around the neck and the bull is ready. I think it's such a cutie. This bull is not for hanging over the tree, but to settle it as a Christmas decor or to add to some arrangement. If you wish, you can make it larger, just need to increase the template accordingly. The only thing that I would fix, I'd make the neck a bit shorter. My bull is still too slim, I think. And of course, colors can be changed depending on which look you want. Black and white, for example, will be looking great too. Let me know what you think of this project down below. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. Have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!